Hello, and welcome to Bong Table. I'm Mass, and this is another Conquest Panel Report. Today I am playing HeavyHog, what is a 100k big brick list. It was invented by Ben from Competent Conquest, and I wanted to give it a go. I know I've been on a bit of a Dweg run for playing, and I was going to play Dweg home, but I ran out of glue while building minis and decided, I want to play HeavyHog. So I repacked my bag and went out to the game store playing that. My opponent today is playing City States. They brought more Anvil-focused lists with a lot of 6-stand regiments, and it was a match of kind of like Anvil v Anvil. So let me get into lists and we'll find out how that goes. Here's my list, HeavyHog. We got an Imperial Officer Warlord. He is running rapid deployment, because, giving 2 regiments Vanguard is still good, even though he can no longer give all the regiments Vanguard, so still really good. The army is in Relentless Drills because I'm running 3 massive bricks, so getting support +1 is also super good. He's got 2 units of Merc Crossbows, followed up by 2 units of Gilded Legion. He's got a 7-stand 1 and 8-stand 1. They're both running Standard Bearers and Drill Masters. And he is Brace for Impact for +1 for Bastion, and then Double Time with On Your Feet. And he's got Armor Dominion. I put him into the 8-stand brick because I kind of wanted him to stick around a little longer, and having those 4 extra wounds on the regiment will just end up being better. The Drill Masters you can kind of swap for Seasoned Veterans. I thought about swapping the 7-stand 1 for Seasoned Veterans, and I was like, no, you know what? I'll just keep Double Time. The removability of Double Time will kind of help the list out get into position. Once it's there, though, you really want Bastion, but I kind of wanted to start moving stuff around because we're getting to the 3rd bricks from the Noble Lords Warband, and talk about that one. But it was kind of like I need the movement, so it's a swap you can do. One of them for sure is going to be running Drill Master because the Imperial Officer is going to be sitting with them, and he's going to be providing the Bastion. So it's kind of like what you want. On turn 3, both these regiments are coming on because you're going to auto in one of them, and you have the Imperial Officer has forward force, so he's going to flank on one automatically. And then you're just going to Vanguard both up onto the table. So it's kind of like, well, they're both going to get Vanguard, they're both going to be on the table, and usually after that Vanguard movement, the regular march gets them into zones, gets them into fights, they're kind of up the table, so you can justify swapping one of these Drill Masters out for Seasoned Veteran, but then you get into the draw event off between you and your opponent. So there's pluses and minuses. It's kind of more what you feel, what's working for you. I just took Drill Master because that's what Ben built it with. I think Carl's played this, who is the 2nd best player in the world at this point. And he, I believe, went with Seasoned Veterans, but I just wanted to go with Drill Master. I was like, you know what, let's just stick as it is, find out how it plays, and then we'll make decisions there. But after playing it, you could go either or. I don't think it's that huge. Then we got our next Warlord, Noble Lord. I forgot to click him off, but he gives Best of Men. So within an 8-inch bubble, everyone gets to reroll 6s on their Clash and Defense rolls. It's very good, especially with all these bricks. He's going to be running a 9-stand Household Guard, and we'll get them into it for a bit. So there's those 3 bricks of Household Guard and Guild Legion. You can easily put on a table usually a Gilded Legion block beside a Noble Lord block and benefit from that reroll 6s. It's super huge for just getting that Clash up higher, because Gilded Legion are just going to inspire Clash with 4 if they're beside the Noble Lord with an 8. Oh look, now they're rerolling 6s. You got your maximum efficiency. Great. Defensively, on the Imperial Officer, he's going to have Bastion going to 4 if he gets reroll 6s because of Best of Men, with the Armor Dominion for no Cleave and Smite on the front rank. That Gilded Legion block is going to take very little damage at that point. And it's easier to kill off the Noble Lord's Household Guard block at that point, just because they're defense 3 with reroll 6s. The reroll 6s also helps out against shooting and magic when anyone does anything like that to you or within your bubble. Moving it up from 6 to 8, really helpful, really great. I love it. Best of Men from the Noble Lord has been really coming around a lot lately from what I initially viewed it as. Before, I thought it was kind of too small at 6 inches at 8. It's much more maneuverable and you can spread out a little bit more. So I enjoyed a lot for that. Then we got another unit of marked crossbows. Oh, he's also running Regalia of the Empire for Dauntless, so his regiment of Household Guard is going to be always inspired and can't be broken. Graceful Companion and Weapon Master, so he gets cleave 1 and 6 attacks. Sweet. He's going to be the same class as the Household Guard regiment, so I just roll their attacks at 1. So it's really good for that. Then we got Household Guards, Standard Bearer, Arms Master, and there's 9 of them. What can I say? Household Guards kind of fuck shit up is the best way to put this. Like, they're Class 2 base, Noble Lord in there. Arms Master swaps from rerolling 6s, giving them +1 clash, so they go to Clash 3. They're always inspired because of Regalia, so they're at Clash 4. Best of Men says they're going to be rerolling 6s. Clash 4 rerolling 6s at every opportunity, can't be broken. This is a fabulous unit. It'll just take a punch to the face, it'll hold out for a great amount of time, especially with 9 stands. As the only medium infantry regiment, this thing is coming on like this. Like turn 2, I always pick Household Guard, Noble Lord. It's getting Vanguard from the Imperial Officer. It's running up the table. This thing is great. I really enjoy the big brick of this. They're also pretty durable, especially when they get into like an anvil off, as we're about to see from the city states list. So they're gonna survive decently. If someone has like high cleave or like a ton of attacks, they're gonna take wounds, but they should be able to hold off long enough for the Guild Legion to show up and help out. But as long as you keep that Noble Lord alive, giving with that Best of Men, you'll be in a really good spot. And then lastly, you got 2 units of Household Knights with banners. They're just running around, getting into zones, protecting flanks, tying up regiments, getting in the way. They do a really good job about that. As we get into the game, I'll point out kind of what I was having them do on the right flank to kind of secure my zone and keep my opponent occupied. But these guys are fantastic. Ties really nicely with the Foot Noble Lord and his Household Guard unit. And that's kind of about it. Like, for Heavy Hog, you really gotta think 3 to 4 turns in advance of where all your stuff is going and where your end position is gonna be, and to not basically get in your own way and step on your own toes. That's, I find, the trouble with the list, is stepping on your own toes. And so you gotta, like, when you're playing it, take the moment, think about the next, like, if it's turn 1, where are your bricks gonna be turn 3? And where are your bricks gonna be turn 4? Those are your kind of like big thought processes. And then as the table develops, that's going to change because your opponent's going to be putting stuff on the table. You're going to be countering or initiating his counters to you. So you really got to like think about it and change it up. So make sure you have a concise plan when going in of where your regiments are going to be going. Because that's, if you get your big block stuck behind like your unit of marked crossbows and your opponents engage with them with like hoplites that are defense 4 and they just don't attack, and your hoplites are just struggling to, sorry, not your hoplites, your marked crossbows are struggling to kill hoplites, or you now have to withdraw marked crossbows and the hoplites activate and charge into your Guild Legion, it's like, you don't want to be stepping on your own toes. There's a point where I kind of step on my own toes, but I think I make the correct decision to solve that problem, and I'll explain it when we get there. I'm just going to slow my rules, so if you want to read a rule specifically, pause the video, read it up, I don't know, make a comment about it. If there's something interesting you have to say about it or want to know more, I'll gladly answer. Alright, let's go to my opponent's list. Here's my opponent's list. His name is Athena Army. He is running an Aristarch who's got some battlefield orders to close the gap. Does it just close the gap? He's got to have more. Don't make me look at this. Battlefield tactics. Battlefield orders. So he gets Untouchable and Bravery. So Untouchable, I believe, is reroll 6s. And then the Polo Mark, we'll get to him later. But what is Close the Gap? Crucible, Fire. Close the Gap. The regiment this character stands currently attached to gains the Unstoppable rule. But you have Phalanx. Weird. Okay. He is running Long Lineage, so he gets a Living Breastplate, so he gets to reroll his defense rolls in a duel, and then Standard of the Last Orientation. This thing changed, so now it's more of a scoring relic. It is going to give +2 scoring stance to the command stand, so make sure that your command stand of the regiment he is in is on the zone. That's a key part. However, when that regiment dies, and if they're on the zone, they will be able to seize that zone. And we forgot to do that this game. Wouldn't have made a huge difference, but my opponent would have prevented me from getting points. Well, actually, he would have seized it, so that means he would have scored. So he would have scored that zone, so he would have been up 2 points, and I would have been down 4 points. So, that would have been a really good thing for him. It doesn't really change the outcome, but I'll explain it when we get to that spot. But it's just something you got to remember when it's happening, like when that regiment dies. And also getting the command stand because it's +2 scoring stance on the zone itself and not just kind of off to the side. But I'll point that when we get there. He's got 2 blocks of 6 of Hoplites. It's 5 with a Minotaur Hephaestian. These aren't bad. I don't know, maybe putting both to 8 would have been better. Then he's got a unit of Selenoi. These are the shooting goats. He's got an MSU of them. Pretty good. I like the shooting goats. They got a good barrage stat, and they have loose formation, so shooting them isn't that great. Then he's got a unit of Thorokites as another light. They're going to be running up the table. Maybe going for zone. I don't say zones, but like going for an objective, setting a line of engagement, being around to just be annoying. They're kind of good for just getting in the way and fighting stuff. Like, this isn't a bad stat line, especially on a light. Like, this is a men-at-arms, but they're light and they have fluid formation, so, and they're faster. Yeah, this is literally the men-at-arms stat line. So for 15 more points, you get 1 more speed and fluid formation. So yeah, however, you are a light. So I don't mind these guys at all. They're there to just kind of get in the way and be quick about it and set the line of engagement and not have someone just like bum rush you. So you have something. So yeah, I don't mind Thorokites at all. Next is the Warlord. Got the Polo Mark. He's got a Supremacy Ability Army of Lions, so that'll give him +1 Clash and Tenacious on his regiment. He's also got Close the Gap. I don't know where this came from. I have no idea, to be honest, if that is just something. But then he's got his Battlefield Tactics, what are Fight in the Shade. So volley rolls against the regiment he's in, reroll hit rolls of 1, and come and get it. The regiment gains unyielding, so if they are in an objective zone, your opponent cannot seize it. So even if they have more stands, they can't seize it until it's dead. So you really want this regiment to be in a zone. He's also got the Blade of Icarus, but we have just dubbed the lightsaber. It's a cleave 4 sword, so he gets -1 attack, and I believe +1 clash, but like cleave 4, something roughly like that. But it's basically, he got cleave 4, and he's gonna mess some people up. Then he took overkill, so if he ever gets into a duel and kills some people, it'll spill over to other people. Then he's running 2 blocks of 5 Phalangites. I don't think this is a good choice because he already has 2 other anvils and 2 hoplites, so that's 2 anvils, and he's got 2 more anvils for 4. Selenoi are basically just shooting what city states needs to kind of force engagements, be annoying, plinkett stuff. Thorokites are not bad, but I think this is points that could be spent on more hammer-esque regiments. Like if my opponent moved one of these hoplites into the Polomark's regiment, Aristocrat can sit in 1, Polomark can sit in 1, Phalangites. They got pike formation, so if you charge them from the front, you reduce impacts, don't get inspire, so that's not bad. But like, I don't know, I don't really value these guys too much. Like defense 2 with phalanx is not that great, while defense 2 with phalanx and shield is much better defensively. They suffer from the same problems as hoplites, but just way worse. Like, you do not want to get flanked. Then he's running Hephaestian, so this is the Cleave 3 Giant. This thing's real good, just smacking people. I believe it just basically kills everything in my list except for the Imperial Officer and that unit of Gilded Legion. Like, he'll just do straight damage, it's really good. And then pop off his Herald of the Forge God for damage, or Crucible, or Aura of Death. Hephaestian's in a really good spot right now, I like him a lot. And lastly, we got 4 stands of Minotaur Thyrians. These guys will do work once they get into combat, except for defense 2, so you really do not want them to be hit by anything. So having something in front to take a blow and then kind of run them up the side and get that flank going, it's really the best spot for these guys. So yeah, that's my opponent's list. I'll slow roll the rules for you, and if you want to pause the video and read something, go right ahead. Alright, let's go to the scenario. Alright, so today we are playing on Echelon. We have a friendly objective 6 inches off your deployment, and we have an enemy objective 6 inches off your opponent's deployment. Then we got these 2 neutral objectives and the 2 9-inch zones. You get 3 points for killing an objective marker, and you get an additional 2 for every additional objective marker you killed that round. That line item, I'll just circle it in green, I don't think has ever come up in any game, like I've played or seen. You know, I'll just do that a little better. Never mind, we'll just underline it. There we go. Yeah, I don't... It's kind of tough. So what usually happens here is that you come up, take this objective, and then while you're doing that, your opponent comes up, takes this objective. They're both off the table, and these objectives back here, I'll circle them in purple, like A and B, they're just too far back for them to like score it because it has to be on the same round. So I very rarely see this come up. And then it's 2 points for the zone, and then it's additional 2 if you're seizing 2 or more zones. So basically you and your opponent will kill each other's neutral objectives. You'll take your zone, your opponent will take their zone, what's closest, and then you kind of draw a line, I'll put it in orange, about here. You know, just messing around here. There we go. I can draw a straight line on my computer, I swear. There we go. So you draw a line about there, and that's where kind of everyone fights and clashes over. So you're trying to keep them out of your zone, they're trying to keep you out of their zone. You're trying to get into theirs, they're trying to get into yours, and you're going to go back and forth until one of these 2 flanks collapses. And at that point, if it's their zonal flank, they're going to you're going to go and score their zone. Sweet. And if it's yours, use blue again, they're going to come for your zone. However, if you collapse their objective side, you then go and you can branch off and kill this objective for a couple more points while you keep the fighting going over on their side. That's how this scenario tends to play out. You can kind of like squish it into those, like into a box around those 2 objectives and those 2 zones. And it's really like you're really fighting over those zones and you really want to get them on turn 2, because if you are a turn late on scoring, you're gonna feel it, and you don't want your opponent to force you out of that. So yeah, that's my chat about this scenario. Let's go to the table. Here's the table we played on today. We have 3 obstructions in the way, so we can't draw a line of sight through them. Due to the new rules that have come out, you can now get within, he's black, 1 or not 1 inch, but you can like ride up beside of buildings and stuff, so you can just get your way through. This really helped because this table is very cramped. As you can see, like the buildings are like, if you're gonna deploy, you can't deploy here to get into the zone. You can't go straight up, like you have to go this way. My opponent has to do the same thing, and the table kind of really helps out big bricks because its objective right here in the middle really protects one of your 2 flanks, and then you can use other things to keep it safe. The trees do come up for a bit of shooting, but like they're not going to be super relevant protecting anything. Like they're more, I just run into them and tow it with 3 of my stands with more crossbows and just kind of unload into stuff. For my objective marker is underneath my bag of widgets over here. His objective marker is over here. The forests were like hindering and obscuring, so that's pretty normal, and these little things we didn't even count as anything, so really that's just what was going on there. Yeah, it just having those buildings like that just kind of screws up with deployment a lot and keeps the board really tight. It kind of forced us to go wide. Like my opponent came out and went wide. They probably didn't have to. They probably could have just came out and like took this objective and then moved forward into my zone. That's what I did on this side, but this was really cramped because I could only really effectively play that and then a little right here. Like that was kind of my play area. So it's kind of similarly mirrored, but my opponent makes a mistake of not going for this neutral objective quick enough and getting rid of it, and then making a play for my zone while I kill off my neutral objective faster and make a play for their zone. So let's get into the game, and we'll see how that turns out. Here's turn 1, and I make a mistake right off the bat. So my mistake is I'm still playing by the old rules of the Imperial Officer. There's a change to Vanguard, and this is the first time that I've come back to play it. Looking back at it in retrospect, this regiment over here should not have gained Vanguard. I did. Bad on me, so sorry to my opponent. But I had not played an Imperial Officer since the change, and I forgot about it and gave him Vanguard, even though I just talked about it. So stuff happens, not the end of the world. It's a local game. You're allowed to make mistakes, just acknowledge it, and correct it for next time. Really it. However, I do get all 3 of my regiments and my crossbows. These 2 regiments right here I'm setting up to push forward and kind of zone out my opponent's zone with shooting, while also being able to see and shoot the ejector marker. One of the games I played with Ben a while back is that you only need to have one of your shooting stands within range of the objective to get all the shots from the other stands in. Like, that's what it's checking for. So that's why the regiment on the left here is basically 9 inches out on the corner, and all the rest of them can shoot that objective for turn 2. So I'm getting set up for that. Then I'm looking at it and I realize I'm kind of going to get crunched in pretty hard. I have 2 avenues for my bricks. So one brick is obviously going to be going up here to score my zone, and another brick I want to go right up here to push forward into my opponent's zone when I can at my earliest convenience. So realizing that, and that I'm kind of running out of table space already, I just deploy my other Unimog crossbows on the right to start kind of setting up, like, hey, if you're going to come into me, or I can kind of force back with you, sit in those trees over there in front of me, shoot at stuff. Like, I kind of want the Merc crossbows to sit in these trees. I was looking at, double marching up within 9, as you can see with that stick right there, to then shoot the objective. My opponent ran his Solenoid up to start looking and shooting down that objective. I think that was a really good move off his part. I think the position of it could be a little better. Like, he could do something similar to me where he could have those range regiment off to the side more, maybe over here. Still get those shots in, still do that damage, and be good. He deploys his light shield guys this way. I'm not sure if this is a good move, to be honest. Like, he ends up doing stuff with it, but I feel he probably should have made a more condensed, I don't know, words. I feel like he should have made more of a play for his objective marker over on the side. And if he had those guys, he could have ran them up forward directly. He could have had the Solenoid over. Solenoid shoot the objective. They charge the objective or they run through it to, get into my zone. Just be annoying. Would have been good. And then the Solenoid could have kept shooting at it. Just something more. Because right now I feel like he doesn't really have anything on the left side. He's going to deploy stuff over there eventually, but right now I'm kind of looking at it. I'm like, I feel, because I know I'm going to be deploying Household Guard across from my objective marker. So it's like, okay, so you're going to have Thoratides versus 2 units of Merc crossbows and Household Guard. Like, I'm going to take that objective, I'm going to kill the Thoratides, and I'm going to get the zone. Like, alright, cool. So yeah, I feel like he spread out a little too much at the beginning here. So let's go to turn 2. Here's turn 2. The only thing I get on is my massive regiment of Household Guard, so as you can see, they just Vanguard right up the table. My opponent, however, gets a unit of 2 units of, Phalangites? Yep. Nope. 1 unit of Phalangites and 1 unit of Hoplites, so I'll just put an H here. This is Hoplites, and Phalangites. There we go. So he uses 2 units of Hoplites and 1 unit of Phalangites. This I actually don't mind for a deployment from him. He's already, he probably could have moved these guys slightly over more, ride the edges of the objective, and get into the zone. My opponent is a little too much focused on my regiments and not on the objectives, while I'm just going hard on the objectives. His Solenoid have to move up a little bit and shoot the objective marker. He gets 2 hits. I roll both saves so he doesn't do any damage to it. Both my units of Merc crossbows just take shots. I don't aim. And I shoot the objective, do my 2 points of damage, and they just kind of march up and wiggle around a bit to get into a little bit better position. So this regiment threat projecting this way, and then this regiment, you know, getting up there. Because I moved this regiment to the woods because I didn't want to deal with obscuring, he just runs up 12 with his Thorakides. I'm kind of like, ooh, this is not really good. Because I don't want, at this point, I know like my household guard are going there. You know, as you can see, I dropped them right in front of that objective. It's on 1 wound. Unit of Merc Crossbow can kill that objective. But am I going to have my household guard fight Thorakides? Because he's going to charge my Merc Crossbows. And I'm kind of like, well, do I save the Merc Crossbows? I could. But then he's going to get into my back. I kind of want to use those household guard to really push forward into that my opponent's zone over here. So now I'm kind of and ahhing, but then I go, okay, wait. Next turn, I'm for sure going to get 2 units of Gilded Legion. So what can I do with that? Well, I haven't committed anything to the zone yet. And I am probably going to drop some Gilded Legion there. And then where am I going to put my next unit of Gilded Legion? Well, I could put my next unit of Gilded Legion over here. Support the Merc Crossbows. Kill off the Thorakides. And then keep pushing up. Because he's already committed 2 bricks. And I'm going to be pushing really hard into my opponent's zone. Because it's easier for me to protect my zone as it's closer to my table edge. So I'm like, okay, that's a pretty good spot. We'll see how the rest of the table develops. Because my other thought is putting my Gilded Legion on this side over here on the other side of the house, but it's not going to be in the zone. Like, they're not going to vanguard up and then touch the zone, so it's not as good. And like, I'm already looking at my opponent's deployment. Like, he's going pretty wide right now, but his stuff hasn't developed more yet to actually threaten me, while I'm already in a position threatening him. So with that, no one scores this turn, and we go to turn 3. So let's see how I deploy those Gilded Legion. Alright, here's turn 3. I get my 2 units of Gilded Legion, and I get both my Household Knight regiments. So I'm like, okay, sweet. My entire list is going to be on the table. First thing I do, my opponent... Or do I win the roll off, or do they win the roll off? I forget. Basically, I believe this regiment right here activates. Because I'm looking at it, I'm like, well... The thing that's in danger first is those Merc Crossbows. So let's go just take aim, shoot at these Thorakides, as you can see. They're not entirely in the woods, so they don't get protection from obscuring. I'm in the woods, so I get to ignore it. I shoot them, they lose a stand. I think they take a wound on the last guy. Sweet. They charge and clash me. My opponent rolls pretty poorly and only does 1 wound. Sweet. And then I have my next unit of Merc Crossbows go. I believe it's this regiment. They just march up into the edge here. I was really thinking of double marching to get within 9 to like start the shooting off into the objective. I decided that's not really a good idea. I need to kind of protect my zone and keep it safe. So, and if we're trading objectives, it's not like whatever. It's keeping the Solenoid entertained right now, and I'm fine with that because I don't need them shooting at me. So I decided to shoot the Phalangites. Phalangites in the respawns run up within 8 inches of me, so they're going to get the guaranteed charge off. Realizing this, I kind of hum and haw for a while. Because I'm trying to figure out where my House Knights are going to go. I'm trying to figure out where my Gilded Legion are kind of going to go. With that, I hum and haw for quite a while, and I realize that if I put the Gilded Legion here, they're not going to be in a really good spot to threat project, because my opponent can just tie up my Merc Crossbows, then I can't get by, and then I'm in a really bad spot. If I put the Gilded Legion here, I could potentially charge my opponent, but it's going to be a real bad charge, and they're like way too far away from the objective at that point, and like being like kind of contributing to anything. With only 1 wound on my Merc Crossbows on the left side, I look at it, and I'm like, well, I'm going to get the Gilded Legion into those Thorakides, kill them, and then he's at this point like deployed this what is it, Hoplite block, or I know it's over there, so I'm like, okay, so Thorakides are going to die there. Then I can just run around and fight those Hoplites while my Merc crossbows here. Ooh, that's in blue. So these Merc crossbows shoot the objective, kill it. Household Guard, run up into the zone. I get 3 stands to his 2 stands, which scores it for me. He's only got his character and Hephaestion. He doesn't get to use the last Orienty standard because it's on the command stand, and his command stand is right here. So I'm good that way. While I got my 3 stands on, so I'm going to score it. This is kind of at the end with this Guild Legion over here, so now I'm coming back to it. I'm a little all over the place. But basically, this Guild Legion is going to help out that Household Guard, because that Household Guard will, next turn fight his Hoplites with the character. His Hoplites are going to come and hit me, or, whoever gets first or second, like, who's going to come into who. With that, my Guild Legion can come up and support this after they kill off the Sorkides, and I can see where he commits. I got 2 units of Merc crossbows who can help it with shots, so this is going to be really favorable for me at this point, and I can secure my opponent's zone. And then with that, I can start, swinging to the right this way. My opponent brings up the Hephaestion right in the middle. I'm not super excited to see that guy because he'll mess me up. That's something that's really dangerous that I don't want to deal with. So I need to kind of trap him behind his own regiment. So if I end up going first, my Household Guard are going to charge his Hopple block with the character. I'll give you a spoiler. I don't know what he would have done if he got first. But you kind of know where I'm going with this. I don't want to fight the Hephaestion, so I need to lock that thing down somehow. And making him get stuck behind his own regiments is how I'm going to lock that thing down. However, my Guilded Legion here, this is one with the Imperial Officer, just running up into the zone, scoring it. They're going to try and threat project out, so, am I going to go this way? Am I going to go this way? Like, whatever, it doesn't really matter. I have that zone locked down. As for my 2 cavalry, I look at it and I'm kind of like, all right, I'm going to set this up so that if the Merc crossbows die, both cavalry can get in. If I can, Merc crossbows might back up so that they're outside of 8, so he has to like march charge me. That means he doesn't get attacks. This cavalry in orange here, they are totally making a play for the zone so that the Guild Legion can be freed up to do other stuff. That's fine over there. Solenoid, shoot the objective again. The lightsaber, Polo Mark, and his phalange blocks just run up the table over there. They're super far away from really anything. I'm kind of fine with them over there, and I'm kind of fine committing horses to go deal with that. Just get in the way, either die, keep them back, do whatever. It doesn't matter. And with that, that is turn 3. So at this point, I'm going to score 6 points to my opponent's 0. On top of killing the objective, again, another 3, so I'm at 9-0. Let's go to turn 4. Here's turn 4. I win the roll-off, and I charge my Household Guard into his Hoplites. I did 30 attacks at Cleave 1, break and shatter the Hoplite block, killing them all. Alright, sweet. However, now the Hephaestion could get into me. My opponent, he draws his Hoplites. Or actually, does he draw his Hoplites, or does he draw his Phalanges? I think he draws his Phalangites. They charge into my Merc crossbows, Inspire Clash, kill them. I'm like, okay, sweet. I draw Gilded Legion. They attack, charge into the Thorakites there and kill them. I had to deploy them too wide, or else I wouldn't be able to make the wheel for the charge. I would have gone off the table, and that's illegal. So I'm like, all right, it's fine. They can go there. Then I draw a Merc crossbow, or what does he do? I think he draws his Hoplites at this point and charges me on the side and does a bunch of damage. So I'm like, sweet. I draw Merc crossbows in response. Shoot him. He draws Solenoid at some point, shoots the objective. I think it's down to 1 wound at this point. Second Merc crossbows go. I think about shooting the Hephaestion. I probably should have, but my problem is that this stand right here can't see him. So like, and I'm like, well, I kind of want the shots, but it's like free shots into the side of the Hoplite, so they're going to be defense 1. Like, yeah, it's kind of the better play here. If I wipe out those Hoplites, I can have the Household Guard focus on the Hephaestion to kill it. Gilded Legion, as you can see, moved up and around. They just double timed over there to get into the back of the Hephaestion. So it's like, well, those 2 regiments should be able to kill a Hephaestion. It'll be fine. It wasn't fine. It was kind of annoying. And then over here, after the Phalangites charge and kill off the Merc crossbows. Household Knights just charge to the side of the Phalangites. I only have one stand in the woods, so I'm good. Do my impact attacks. Clash. I only kill off one stand. I don't think I hit any of my impact attacks. Clash, kill off a stand, whatever. Polomark and the boys just run up the table here. Gonna charge my Household Knights on the side. Great, I'm gonna get Lightsaber to death. Alright, that's fine. With that, my Household Knights here just march, rotate, reform into the zone. Covering the lip of it, so if he ever charges me, I'm going to be preventing him from getting in there and scoring. So at that point, I have locked down this zone. This zone I should not have scored because of the standard, because the character stand was in there. The command stand was out, but died, but the character was still in, so then he would have still counted for the death of, like, you know, locking that zone. So I should not have scored that this turn. We forgot about it. Not the end of the world. And lastly here, his Minotaur Thyrans just kind of run up the table. At this point, this is kind of a desperate play. It's not, like, the thing across from him is Gilded Legion, and sure, the Gilded Legion will die to a bunch of Minotaur attacks, except I have a ton of Gilded Legion, I'm fine taking that damage. I also have a unit of Merc crossbows there to shoot at them, and the Gilded Legion can fight back and just kind of kill them off, so that'll be really good. So it's not that great of a deployment trade. I think he needs to kind of just focus on killing those Household Knights, or not Household Knight, Household Guard. I'll just circle them in orange on his zone. I think a better play actually would have been if he deployed his Thyrans right there, butted up with the Household Guard and charged them from the front, killing them, because now I got like 3 regiments on like fighting in that confined space. So if he used the Thyrans next turn and he committed them to that Household Guard regiment and he just had all 3 regiments just fight and kill that Household Guard regiment and kill it, he can then at that point turn around the Hephaestian to go fight Gilded Legion. Not the greatest fight because of Armored Dominion, but, you know, something. He can turn around Hoplites to fight Gilded Legion. Not the best fight because they're taking some damage, and I'll probably just do enough. And then Minotaur Thyrans can try and help the Hoplites kill Gilded Legion, or maybe chew up some Merc crossbows. I think they're going to try and hit the Gilded Legion on the side at that point. It's just a better spot because you kill one of my regiments, like one of my 3 powerhouse regiments in the list, and you can then try and reform yourself and rotate out of that. Try and score it, try and keep me away. That weakens my left side because at that point my Gilded Legion would be out of position, even though they're trying to run for those Hoplites. And it keeps those Minotaur Thyrans safe because right now they're not supported, and that's kind of the big issue on that side. So with that, let's go to turn 5. Here's turn 5, and so my Gilded Legion, I believe I win the roll-off? Yeah, I believe I win the roll-off, and he's like, it's not going to be Gilded Legion. I'm like, it's Gilded Legion, and I charge him in the butt. They get the Hephaestian down to, like, 2 wounds, so I'm like, yeah, sweet! He then draws, I believe, his Phalangites. Oh, with this March reform here, I also made sure that I was outside of line of sight of the Polomark block and the Phalangite block right there, so he had to reform and charge me, so I was like, yeah, well, that's fine. So he's on the zone and he doesn't get any attacks off on those Household Knights, I'm fine with that. He cleared the Household Knights with this Polomark block, he just charges in, just rips those Household Knights to death, they're gone, and I'm like, well, that's fine, you can be way over there, like, I'll just not fight your Phalangites, I don't really care enough, and keep that Polomark block way over there away from me, because I don't want to deal with it. After that's done, Household Guard go. Because they're being flanked, they do not get support, so I can only commit the 2 attacks here, well, these 2 stands and these 2 stands, into the regiments they're in contact with, so the Noble Lord and his unit of Household Guard, or his 1 stand, attack the Hoplites, do some damage. The 2 stands of Household Guard, it's like 8 attacks into the Hephaestian. The Hephaestian has 2 health left. I'm like, come on, kill it. He makes like all his saves except for 1, makes the resolve, and I'm like, okay, 1 wound, great. So it's alive on 1. Hephaestian activates, rips through Household Guard again. Actually, no, he doesn't rip through Household Guard. He decides that he needs to kill the Gilded Legion because he has this massive block. Except he's in contact with the Imperial Officer with Armored Dominion, so he doesn't get his Cleave 3. I have Bastioned at this point. He does no damage to them. I think the Satyrs either have killed the objective last turn, so he scored 3 points, or he kills it this turn, but... Is this turn 5? Yeah, I think this is turn 5. So I think he just shoots and kills this thing because he needs to get on the table with points. So with that, the Bastion is sitting there with like 1 wound left, and I'm kind of like, I need to kill it. I need to do something. So I'm kind of looking at it, and I'm like, all right, Merc Crossbows, you can go. You get 2 stands to shoot. You're outside of effective range, so you're only going to get 7 shots. Like, I just need one of these to go through and it dies. One of them goes through, it dies. I'm like, sweet, it's dead. Hoplites, I'm pretty sure here, they just attack my Household Guard, kill some more. Household Guard and yeah, Household Guard are just there. These Merc Crossbows shoot at the Minotaur Thyrans. Minotaur Thyrans march charge into my Gilded Legion, but Gilded Legion have pike formation. Gilded Legion, he's also running through hindering terrain, so he doesn't get any of his impacts. And then Gilded Legion activate Inspire Clash, kill them all. Like, it's a bajillion attacks. Sweet, they're dead. And that's kind of it for turn 5. At this point, you know, I score both these zones because I can't be broken, and I got 4 stands to his 3 on the zone. There is 6 more points. I'll take it. Going on to turn 6. Here's turn 6. I'm not exactly sure what happened. I forget who wins the roll-off. One of us wins the roll-off. But the big things that are happening here is that these Household Guard do a reform, clash. They're always inspired, so I don't really care. Kill off the rest of the Hoplites. They're dead. I believe the Phalangites attack Household Knights. I just take some damage. Then I Inspire Clash, kill off the rest of the Hoplites. I think I do with Resolve, I just do enough wounds and kill off the last 2 stands. And at that point, my opponent, I call it. He's kind of got nothing left, so, like, you know, this Gilded Legion brick is just going to reform into those Silonoi. These Household Knights are just going to sit there. They don't really care, but, you know, all this stuff over here is just going to come this way. And I'm just going to sit on the zones and score them. Let's go check out the score at that point. Here's the score. So I should not have scored, what is it, 4 points? So I should be down to 23. And my opponent should have scored 2 points, so they should be at 5. That doesn't change the outcome of this game at all, though. But just for actually following the rules and reviewing the games. This is one of the nice things I like about the battle reports, is that it allows me to review the games, see mistakes, see things that went well, bad, things that need improvement. And sometimes it's just, you know, following the rules. Like, I made that Vanguard mistake with the Merc Crossbows early on. Shouldn't have done that. My opponent didn't use their last orientation relic. Should have done that. So, overall, though, it was a really good game. I think I played this match pretty well. There was no, like, super glaring flaws. I probably could have got messed up on the Household Guard if my opponent deployed the Thyrans after the Hoplites died. Because, like, the Hoplites died at the start of the turn. He could just deployed the Thyrans and gone to the same position where the Hoplites are. And then at that point, he's in a very commanding spot to kill the Household Guard. However, I'm probably still taking that Hypestian. And then he's got Thyrans fighting Armored Dominion, Gilded Legion, and, you know, the battle keeps going. So there was enough stuff there to kind of keep it under control. I think my play early on of getting the Household Guard into a zone was really good, just to, like, force the issue early on, just get them in there, they can sit in that thing. The 3 obstructions, like the 2 buildings of the rock, really confined a lot of the spacing on this table and really protected a lot of flanks and prevented a lot of things from, like, getting flank attacks and protecting stuff from doing things. Like, the bigger the brick, the safer it was because of all the buildings. I still even got, like, 2 flanks on the side and Household Guard were just living. Like, I was never worried of being broken and shattered. I did fail a lot of, like, D3 reroll 6 rolls, though, defensively, when the Hoplites attacked me and when the Pestian attacked me, and I was just like, oh boy. Well, the Pestian, his clash attacks would have just gone straight through, but even then, it was just like, ugh. But I think my right side turned out really well. I took advantage of some missed deployments from my opponent there. Like he went too wide while he should have been more concise in looking at the zones. I wasn't worried about killing stuff that wasn't contributing and could just kind of take my time on that. But I was more worried about killing stuff that would be an active threat. So like the 2 Hoplite blocks and the Pestian were things that needed to die to like secure that zone and kill it. And then I just need to keep the 2 units of Phalangites just away from my zone, and I was fine doing that. So yeah. Overall, really good game. I like HeavyHog. It's a lot of, you need to plan your steps out, and if anyone who wants to play that list, or you know, just big brick lists in general, you really need to think where your bricks are going to be turn 4 and probably turn 5. Like, you need to set up your path for that. And in this game, I had 2 paths set out for myself right off the bat where I was going to put 2 of my bricks for sure. The third one was a little bit harder because of how the board state developed, and I didn't want to be trapped behind my own regiment, so I made the choice of putting it off onto like a far flank to come and support the Household Guard. Even though the middle one, Gilded Legion brick with the Imperial Officer, moved up right through the middle of the table and supported them anyway, I still had that support there when it was needed and to draw stuff away from them and commit. Or if my opponent commits more there, I can get my Gilded Legion quicker into the fight while having both my Merc Crossbows shoot. So yeah, really liked it. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. Bonk Table has a Discord, so if you want to talk to me there, talk to some other people there, talk about list construction, general theory, or whatever, you're more than welcome. Link is in the description below for that. We have a podcast. Cassandra and I have been going on talking about, I think our last one is about relics or upgrades. This will probably be out pretty sure before that, so you get a sneak peek of us. Well, I'm not going to play it or anything, but you get an idea what the next podcast episode is going to be. Then what am I doing? Oh yeah, I've been doing my 100k guide. That's just what I've called it at this point, because I'm just doing detailed breakdown of like what everything does. This comes out, infantry might be coming out. I think that's next week after date of recording. So that'll be on the 17th of May. So if this comes out before or after that, 17th of May, there you go. I've talked about horses, I've talked about shooting, and I've talked about the infantry. So the next one's going to be about list construction and then, like, you know, bringing it all together and talking about it. While the one after that is just going to be my hot takes about 100k. So that's just me rambling about shit. So whatever you watch, enjoy it. Would I do more in-depth guides about factions? Yeah, but I want to play the faction. Like, it's very much, I want to have a level of mastery and expertise on something before I really commit that level of detailed deep dive into something. So yeah, hope you guys all enjoyed. Bye.